Good afternoon, everybody. If you guys can find a place to sit, there's a lot of open spaces everywhere. So my name is Guadalupe Ayala, and I'll be your host this afternoon. For our official welcome, I would like to call Dr. Joan Jackson Johnson, Director of the City of Lansing's Human Relations and Community Services Department.
Is this better? Okay. Good afternoon, and welcome to the City of Lansing's 39th Annual Observance of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and his legacy of services. I'd like to start by thanking, in particular, the staff from Human Relations and Community Services. If you're here, please, if you're standing, raise your hand. If you're seated, please. Thank you for all of your hard work, and let's give them a round of applause. We do lots in our department, and certainly it's the staff that's behind the great work that's there. I'd also ask any elected officials to please stand. Thank you. I see one of the newly elected judges, Judge Ward. I'm not ignoring everyone. Is there another person that's newly elected? Stokes, yes. They had a seat up here for you. There was a seat up here for you representing the county bar. Oh, okay. We thought you were. But again, welcome and thank you for all that you've done and all that you will do in the future to service our brothers and sisters and to level the playing field in Lansing for all. The mayor isn't here yet, but I certainly want to thank and acknowledge him for his support of our department and the numerous activities that we're involved in. I'd also ask, I just saw Linda come in, will the departmental heads please stand if you're here? Okay. Thank you for your attendance and support. I believe Reverend Dr. King would approve of this year's theme, Be the Change You Wish to See in the World, as this phrase is often attributed to one of his heroes, Mahatma Gandhi. And certainly Dr. King was a great example of how one person can make a big difference in the world. It's been said that in 13 years, Dr. King served as a leader of the civil rights movement. African Americans made more progress toward racial equality than in the previous 350 years. Imagine that. Through his work, he was able to inspire millions of people to stand up and demand change, to reject racism and unfair laws, and to recognize and appreciate the many contributions of African American people. But we also know that he did not do it alone. It took many thousands of people with African Americans in the lead, being joined by people of every color, black, white, yellow, and brown, to work toward a dream of racial equality in this country. And of course, his work, our work, is not yet done. Using the teachings of Gandhi, Dr. King and his followers demonstrated that freedom and change in unfair laws and practices could be realized by civil disobedience, nonviolent protests, and grassroots organizing. He inspired thousands, really millions, of people in the 60s and 70s to choose a life of service to others working to make the world a better place. These were inspiring ideas to a whole generation of people who believed the world could change for the better. And I can tell you that despite what is going on in the world today, many things have changed for the better. And for those things that still need changing, I challenge everyone here to educate yourself, gather your friends, your family, create strategies, and get busy. young and old in this room, because what you do with your life and how we all spend our time is up to us. No matter what challenges you face, you can choose today to have hope and to follow Dr. King's great example. In 1964, King was 35 years old and became the youngest person to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. His remarks in accepting the award are still relevant today. He said, "I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. This is why temporarily defeated is stronger than evil triumphs." Thank you for joining us here today, but I want to acknowledge my boss, the Honorable Mayor Schor, and stand up, Mayor. Let's give him a round of applause. I mentioned before you came in that we appreciate all you do to support HRCS work in the community and for being here for us and for all of the citizens of the greater Lansing area. Thank you. The other person I failed to acknowledge, I work full-time for the city. My husband, Vern, is here, and Nikki and the host of families. It's a joint job. Vern said, "What did you get us into next?" But it takes a whole team of Johnsons to make some of these things happen, so thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. And for our invocation today, we are pleased to have Deacon Dave Drayton, who joins us from St. Thomas Aquinas Parish and St. John Church and Student Center in East Lansing. Please help me welcome Deacon Drayton.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's quite an honor to be here. Having grown up in Lansing and gone to Otto and graduated from Sexton, to be asked this, it's a tremendous honor. I found this prayer by Pope Francis and thought his words to be appropriate for today. So let us pray. God of love, you created us, and you call us to live as brothers and sisters. Give us the strength daily to be instruments of peace. Enable us to see everyone who crosses our path as our brother or sister. Make us sensitive to the plea of our citizens who ask us to turn our weapons of war into implements of peace, our fear into confident trust, and our quarreling into forgiveness. Lord, smooth the violence of our tongues and our hands. Renew our hearts and minds so that our way of life will always be that of shalom, peace, or salam. In your name, Father, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon. And now please help me welcome Mayor Andy Schor, who will be presenting the proclamation for today's event.
Joan was telling me you got to adjust the mic. I listen to what she says. Boy, this event gets bigger and bigger every year, and that's awesome. Welcome to City Hall. I appreciate everyone coming. This is this is always a very powerful week. It's something that you start the year off with as you remember it throughout the year, the impact of Dr. King, and kind of every time you go through this, you figure out something new in your own life, something new you can do in your community. So I'm not going to give a speech or anything. We've got a great keynote for that. But we are presenting a tribute. Our Human Relations and Community Service Division, they do incredible work throughout the year. We are supporting so many different causes and needs throughout our community. And Dr. Joan Jackson Johnson has taught me a lot in year one. She taught me a lot before that, but she taught me a lot in year one, and I expect that will continue. She's the heart and soul of our community here in Lansing. She makes sure that while we try and grow the city and improve our neighborhoods and fix our roads, she makes sure that no one's left behind. And I think that's a central message that Dr. King talked about, was making sure that everybody has an opportunity. And that's what Joan does every day. And when I say every day, I don't mean like 8 to 5. I mean like every day. 6 in the morning, 10 at night, Christmas, you name it. She's there doing it. So I'm going to present this proclamation. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll read a little bit of it. Whereas on behalf of the City of Lansing, it's a privilege to recognize our Department of Human Relations and Community Services as we join together for the 39th Annual Memorial Observation of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This year's theme, Be the Change You Wish to See in the World, encourages all greater Lansing area residents to advocate against intolerance and discrimination, and then a variety of other incredible things that we do. But now, therefore, I, Andy Schor, Mayor of the City of Lansing, by the power vested in me, do hereby proclaim Friday, January 18, 2019, as the 39th Annual Memorial Observance of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in Lansing, and I encourage all Lansing residents to spend this day in reflection of Dr. King's selfless advocacy and timeless legacy.
Please note that this proclamation will be sent to the King Center in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Schor. And now I am pleased to introduce the Capital City Voices of Hope, which was recently formed specially to sing at this occasion. This group consists of children from several organizations in the greater Lansing community. They are from the Boys and Girls Club, Advent House Ministries, and from Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. These children are very excited to be here to help celebrate and honor the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Today, they range from the 4 to 16 years of age and are united by their love for performing vocal music. Their first song, This Little Light of Mine, is a song that perhaps many of you have been singing since childhood. Although old, it conveys a powerful message. We should live our lives as examples for those around us, doing deeds that make this world a better place for all men. Dr. King's life exemplified this concept. He left a legacy that will live on as an example for generations to come. They hope you enjoy the song and continue to let your light shine. Please help me welcome them to the front. another round of applause. That was their first time performing. Okay, so at this time, if anybody has any open seats next to them, if you guys can raise your hand. We have some people in the back that are standing. So there you have it. There's a few people with their hands raised, so you're welcome to come and sit down. Next up, please help me welcome Council President Carol Wood, who will be presenting the Council's resolution for today's event.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you to the City Council chambers and to the Martin Luther King celebration. As the mayor said, this is the 39th year of such a celebration here at City Hall. We are proud of the foresight of our leaders who started this celebration and understood the importance of celebrating Dr. King's life and accomplishments. I would like to acknowledge my council colleagues that are with us today. If you would stand. We have Councilmember at Large Patricia Spitzley and 4th Ward Councilmember Brian Jackson. We also have retired senior volunteers from Senior Companions and Foster Grandparents with us, if they would stand. Some of these volunteers helped with the Greater Lansing Martin Luther King Commission by reading and judging essays that were written by children from the Greater Lansing area in December, and we want to thank them for that. We have a resolution that we want to present on behalf of council. And we present this resolution to Dr. Jackson. This year's theme is you must be a change. You must be the change you want to see in the world. The saying does not mean that personal transformation is the only way to change the world. It means that if you bring about change in one area that you have control over, you can model what the world you want to see would look like, and to help bring it about in a small corner of the world. Be the change here in the Lansing area. We are living in a world today that is crying out for change, for compassion, for love, and for hope, and for tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Now I would like to take the time to recognize one of our sponsors. The Ingham County Bar Foundation and the Ingham County Bar Association have co-sponsored this event for the past 36 years. The president of the foundation could not be here today, but he did send our guest, Honorable Judge Wanda Stokes, who joins us from the 30th Judicial Circuit Court. Thank you for being here. So now we will welcome back Voices of Hope for their second piece. Music was the spiritual force that strengthened the weary minds and bodies of those who fought for freedom during the civil rights era. As police dogs and fire hoses were being turned onto protesters, they held onto each other and stood strong in the face of adversity. This next song, Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around, personifies the determination of those in the struggle for justice. As you listen to the words, imagine the environment they were in. As they held hands, marched for equality, willing to sacrifice their lives but never giving up or turning back. Please help me welcome them back.
no jailhouse. Turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no jailhouse turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let no jailhouse turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no jailhouse turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let segregation turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let segregation turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching out of freedom land. Ain't gonna let segregation turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let segregation turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let no Jim Crow. Wait, what? Turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no Jim Crow turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching down to freedom land. Ain't gonna let no Jim Crow turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no Jim Crow turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up the freedom land. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching out the freedom land. Gonna let injustice turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching out the freedom land. Wow, let's give them another round of applause. Thank you for that. That was phenomenal. Now I would like to introduce our keynote speaker. Pastor Kevin Brown is a resident of Lansing and a native of Detroit. He is a father of two, Chanel and Kevin II, and has two beautiful granddaughters, Kaya and Kendall. He graduated from Detroit's prestigious Cass Technical High School, where he studied business administration and performing arts. Standing at 6'6", he was an all-state basketball player and subsequently attended Northwood University on an athletic scholarship where he received degrees in business administration and marketing. Recognized as MVP player and also earning numerous conference awards, Kevin was drafted to play professional basketball in Ireland. At an early age, Kevin was called to ministry at 10 years old under Bishop John B. Willis Jr. of Christian Liberty Community Church of Detroit, and is licensed as an ordained preacher of the gospel. Kevin enjoys preaching, singing, and playing music for his church, and also gives back to the greater Lansing community by serving as a pastor. For the past 5 years, he has served at the Advent House in the day shelter on Saturdays and Sundays. Pastor Kevin majors in preaching the word and minors in music.
He writes and produces music as a leader of the gospel singing group Unity. He has written and produced over 50 songs, which are available on CD and online today. Pastor Kevin is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, where he pledged and crossed through Delta Pi chapter at MSU in May of 1985. He is an honorary ombudsman for the Greater Lansing's Area National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Club. He served for the past 7 years as Community Affairs Coordinator for WSYM Fox 47. He is responsible for the successful launch of Bounce TV Mid-Michigan here in Lansing. And Kevin is currently the Navigation and Outreach Coordinator at the United Way of Jackson, the Senior Pastor at Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. He has over 25 years of media experience. He has an electric personality and a track record in, in effective leadership. He believes that the key to success begins with a relationship with God, a positive attitude, and a committed spirit. Father, brother, uncle, grandfather, musician, writer, producer, singer, preacher, teacher, and pastor, Pastor Kevin S. Brown.
When you hear of my home going, don't you worry about me. When you hear of my home going, don't worry about me. When you hear of my home going, don't you worry about me. 'Cause I'm just another soldier, oh yes, and I'm on my way home. I'm happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. 50 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and by the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languishing in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. So we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. In a sense, we have come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise to all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check. A check which have come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. So we have come to cash this check. A check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice. We have also come to this hollow spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. It would be fatal for our nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. This sweltering summer of the Negro's legitimate discontent will not pass until there is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. Those who hope that the Negro needed to blow off steam and will now be content will have a rude awakening if this nation returns to business as usual. There will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. The whirlwinds of revolts will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. But there is something that I must say to my people who stand on the warm threshold which leads into the palace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protests to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic height of meeting physical force with spiritual force. This marvelously new militancy which have engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to distrust of all white people. For many of our white brothers, as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny. They have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone. As we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of unspeakable horrors of police brutality. We can never be satisfied. As long as our body is heavy with the fatigue of travel, cannot gain lounging in the motels of the highway and the hotels of the city, we cannot be satisfied. As long as the Negro's basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto to a larger one, we can never be satisfied. As long as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by signs stating for white only, we cannot be satisfied. As long as a Negro in Mississippi cannot vote And a Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote for. No, we are not satisfied. And we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like rivers and righteousness like a mighty stream. I am not mindful that some of you have come here out of great trials and tribulations. Some of you have come fresh from narrow jail cells. Some of you have come from areas where your quest for freedom left you battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been veterans of creative suffering. Continue to work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to Mississippi. Go back to Alabama. Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Georgia. Go back to Louisiana. Go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friends, that even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of this creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama, with his vicious racists and his governors having lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and little black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and little white girls as brothers and sisters. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and every mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful sympathy of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that one day we will be free. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with a new meaning. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill in Mississippi. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And when this happens, when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, when we let it ring from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. If you miss me from singing, don't worry about me. If you miss me from singing, don't worry about me. No, Lord, if you miss me from singing, don't you worry about me. I'm just another soldier, oh Lord, and I'm on my way home. God keep you strong. Amen.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Brown. Okay. Up next, we have the privilege of calling Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Kappa Delta Lambda Chapter, Mr. Lee Richardson, who serves as the Scholarships and Awards Chairman, is here to present the MLK Citizenship Awards, and we're truly appreciative of the continued support we get for this event. Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon. I'm honored to be here. This is one of the oldest celebrations of Dr. King's birthday in the country, and I'm proud that I live in a city that had foresight to have a program like this. Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, the first intercollegiate fraternity established by African American men, was founded on December 4th, 1906 on the campus of Cornell University in Ithaca, New York. Alpha Phi Alpha has been open to men of all races since the 1940s. The aims of the fraternity are manly deeds, scholarship, and love for all mankind. The history of Alpha Phi Alpha is the history of America. Would the brothers in attendance please stand? Thank you. Thank you for your efforts. In honor of our dear fraternity brother, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the men of the Kappa Delta Lambda Chapter Lansing alumni of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated would like to recognize these students who have made contributions to the community and represent the civic values that an ideal citizen should possess. Dr. King stated that service work is neither easy nor convenient. And he said, now let me suggest first that if we are to have peace on earth, our loyalties must become ecumenical rather than sectional. Our loyalties must transcend race, our tribe, our class, and our nation. And this means that we must develop a world perspective. The lesson that we all can take away from this today is that you do not have to be an adult to contribute to your community, and that anyone can serve. It is my pleasure to present to you the 2019 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Citizenship Award recipients. When I call your name, please come forward and accept your award. Our first recipient is William J. Roberts. William J. Roberts. William is a senior at Lansing Eastern High School with a grade point average of 3.5. He has been described as a young man of integrity and personal drive. He has done well and has grown up and worked in the Lansing community. He is active in his church as a drummer and is an accomplished athlete in wrestling, basketball, and football. He has participated in several community service projects through the Turning Point of Lansing, a mentoring group program for young men 7th through the 12th grade, and also his church. He has participated in providing food for the homeless at the shelter, cleaning the grounds at the community centers, and providing ushering services at local events. He continues to work at MSU concession stands for worthy causes and the Greater Lansing Food Bank, helping to sort, move, and load food boxes. His future plans for service to the community will be in the areas involving youth development. William J. Roberts. Our next recipient is Haywood Edwards II. Haywood Edwards II, affectionately referred to as Woody. Haywood is a senior at East Lansing High School with a grade point average of 3.3 and has served as the secretary for the class of 2019. He has been called a caring and compassionate friend who is always helping others to solve problems. He has been a member of the Turning Point of Lansing for 5 years. Haywood has lettered in baseball and wrestling and was the starting nose guard for the East Lansing Trojans football team. He has been accepted to Western Michigan University, University of Central Florida, Olivet College, and DePaul University. However, his number one choice is Florida A&M University. He is still weighing his options, but plans to major in business management or finance. He is also a young entrepreneur as the proud owner of Shiny Wheels, a mobile vehicle detailing service, which, by the way, is running a $35 interior special this weekend. And for those of you that don't know, Wheels is spelled these days W-H-E-E-L-Z. Haywood's greatest impact of service to the community is in his efforts for the Lansing Mobile Food Pantry, where he provided assistance for the food pantry by delivering food boxes to senior citizens who cannot make it to the designated pickup sites. Haywood has been an integral part of the delivery for over 4 years. During that time, he has assisted volunteers in packing and delivering thousands of pounds of food to the most vulnerable members of our community. He has demonstrated time and again that he is a positive, motivated leader in organizing and supervising the younger volunteers. Haywood stood out for his commitment to the endeavor with his work ethic and positive team mentality. Haywood Edwards II. Our final recipient is Miles Pope. Miles is a junior at East Lansing High School with a grade point average of 4.02. No comment. He is the secretary of the Student Congress, section leader in the tenor sax and the marching jazz and concert band, and is a member of the Honor Society, Debate Club, Black Student Union, Homecoming Committee, and Astronomy Club. He also finds time to tutor classmates in chemistry, physics, and math. The awards he has received are the Distinguished Scholar Award, East Lansing High School, 2016 to 2018, first place contest winner in the annual Juneteenth essay contest. He received awards for the Gifted and Talented Education Program, Math, Science, and Technology, College of Human Medicine at Michigan State University, and Center of Excellence Certificate of Achievement, 2018 Health Sciences Scholar Institute. Some of the community and volunteer activities Miles has been involved in are the Union Missionary Baptist Church Mime and Puppet Ministry. He worked with the community health projects and fairs through the Health Sciences Scholars Institute program at MSU, summer of 2018 at sites in Flint, Grand Rapids, and Lansing. He is a member of the East Lansing Kiwanis Community Band, performing at various venues such as senior citizens' homes and the East Lansing Kiwanis Dinner fundraiser. He participated in the turkey drive for the Greater Lansing Food Bank. He helped plan and played for a Christmas concert for special needs students at the high school. Volunteered for the Cata Come Clean Duathlon at Lake Lansing Park. And as a member of the Turning Point in Lansing, he has volunteered as an usher for the Martin Luther King Jr. Luncheon and the NAACP Freedom Fund Dinner. He has volunteered for concession stands at MSU since he was 14 years old. Served lunch for Advent House Ministries, and helped prepare food boxes for the Greater Lansing Food Bank. Miles' career aspirations are to be in the fields of astrophysics, chemical engineering, or nuclear engineering. Miles Pope. At this time, I would ask that Could the parents of these students and significant people in these young men's lives please stand and be recognized? Thank you.
Congrats again to all awardees. And now it's come the time to end this afternoon's program. And I would like to again thank everybody that made this event possible. Thank you to the Human Relations and Community Services Department, Mayor Schor, City Council, the Ingham County Bar Foundation Association, the Brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and Capital City Voices of Hope. But most importantly, thank you all for being here and joining us. We hope that you all have been empowered by today's speakers and our young performers. I ask that all of us in different walks of life continue to be inspired by the man we celebrated today. Let us continue to honor the dream of a man and his movement, a man that for his short life saw suffering and injustice and refused to look the other way. We can be inspired, and we too can be courageous in continuing the footsteps in the path that he created. Let us start or continue being the change we wish to see in the world. Thank you. And now Cheryl Dudley, Director for Capital City Voices of Hope, will lead us, and we shall overcome. The words are in the back of the program. Okay, everybody, thank you again. And we do have a reception. You all should have gotten a ticket. We're going to let the children go first, and our senior citizens, guests from RSVP, to please come in forward first, okay? So we'll go through these doors right here to the back.